Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Abby and I'm with Fitness is Medicine. Today I'm going to give you a workout using a kettlebell. I've had more requests. I did one a while ago using a kettlebell, and I've had some more requests to do another one for some more ideas. So if you don't have a kettlebell in your house, go ahead and grab a dumbbell, or a jug of water will work, or a big soup can or something. Anything that has a little weight to it will work. You'll be able to follow along with this. If you do have a kettlebell, go ahead and grab it. Typically people might have like a really heavy one, which will not work for this one. So you're going to need a little bit lighter. So if you don't have a lighter one, grab it. Like I said, grab a dumbbell. You make sure you get a good warm up in before you start. So if you need to do that, press pause now, go get 5 or 10 minutes of walking or riding your bike or something, and then go ahead and grab your dumbbell and follow through on this with me one time through. Press pause, rewind, and do it at least a couple more times. So the difference between a dumbbell and a kettlebell really is the weight distribution. So when you hold on to a kettlebell, the weight is all down here in the bottom. And when you hang on to a dumbbell, the weights are over here. And really, they're all similar. And it's just about, finding new ways to do things to keep things interesting. And so I'm going to show you, to start off with, we're going to do a bent over row. So if you have any back pain, be really aware of how you're performing this and follow along with good form. So we're going to get into just a little bit of a squat. And remember, when we do a squat, you want to sit your hips back, have your feet about shoulder width apart, and we're going to bend over and have a nice flat back. So I'm going to take this kettlebell, hang it straight below my shoulders, and squeeze up. So I'm trying to squeeze my shoulder blades, pulling that weight towards my chest, keeping my shoulders down away from my ears. If this bothers your back, sit down in a chair and do it. So you can sit on a bench or a chair and do the same thing, and it takes a lot of pressure off of your back. If you don't have back pain, really focus on keeping those abs engaged, squeezing up each time. And you can experiment with the hand holds. If your hands are too big to fit in there, you can hold on to it like this and pull up. There's a lot of different ways you can hang on to the kettlebell to make it work for your hands and your grip and the comfort of all of that. So each time, importantly, you're really focusing on squeezing those shoulder blades, using gravity, and when you come back down, you really want to lower it slowly. You don't want to drop it. You want to work against gravity. So you're lowering it slowly and then coming back up. Okay, great. So that was the bent over row. Next, we're going to do a goblet squat. So I've used kettlebells in past videos and showed you how to do squats. And I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. So all it is just the different hand hold. So I'm going to have you turn that kettlebell over in your hands. So you're holding it kind of like a goblet. So I'm going to refresh my screen here. And just like we talked about in the last exercise, when you do a squat, you want to sit your hips back like you're going to sit down into a chair. Keep your knees over your ankles, and just keep this weight nice and close to your chest. So we're just holding it, using it as extra resistance for those legs to stand up against that gravity. So you want your toes, you can point your toes directly forward or even out to the side just a little bit. If you have knee pain, you can try spreading your feet apart a little bit further and pointing your toes out to the side. And that can help alleviate some knee pain. The other thing is, do a smaller range of motion if you're having pain. But squats are really important to get those large muscle groups in your thighs and your legs working and getting some range of motion to those knees. So we're going to do 10 of these. You're holding this really close to your chest, sitting back like you're going to sit down into a chair, keeping your weight in your heels and keeping those knees over your ankles. Okay, so that was a goblet squat. Next, we're going to do a farmer carry. So when you're carrying a big bucket of water, or if you're carrying a watering can around, sometimes the tendency is to kind of hike it up and carry it like this. What I want you to focus on is setting your shoulders, keeping your shoulders level, holding that weight in one hand, and walking. So we're just going to walk back and forth wherever you are, your room, your deck, and walking with a stable core. So you want your core to stay nice and stable. You're engaging your core, you're engaging those shoulders, so you want to kind of set your shoulders back and walk. So you can, just walk around back and forth in your room that you're in. We're going to focus on about 30 seconds of walking back and forth with the weight in one hand, and then we're going to switch. And the longer you carry it, you should feel it in your side core, your side abdominals, which are your obliques. Feel it a little bit in your shoulders. If you really can't carry it without hiking up, find something a little bit lighter, because you don't want to, my goal is not to hike it up and create any shoulder or neck pain. And the more that you can do this, the more that you can carry those heavy things around your yard, around your house. Maybe if you have a heavy load of groceries and one hand is free. Okay, now we're going to switch. When you switch, take the time to refocus, set those shoulders, pull your shoulder blades back just a little bit. You want to have that really good posture and your good core engagement for this exercise. So you're keeping your core stable, you're keeping your shoulders level, and you're just walking back and forth. To begin with, it doesn't seem like very much, but the longer you do it, the more you're going to feel those obliques kick in to keeping your torso and your core and everything stable and level. You want to keep those shoulders level. If you need to, find, you could do this in your bathroom mirror, at least to begin with, to make sure that you're staying level. Because it's hard to tell sometimes, having that body awareness. But you want to keep that nice and level and walk back and forth for 30 seconds at least. If you want to, you can extend it to a minute, as long as it's not, bothering your back or your shoulder or anything to carry that heavy weight. Okay, next we're going to move on to biceps curls. So we're going to incorporate a little bit of balance here. We're going to do one side at a time. So you can stand on either leg. I want to try a single leg stance and a bicep curl. So again, I want you to stay stable, just curling that one arm. We want to stay as stable and as level as you can, keeping your hips level, keeping your shoulders level. If standing on one leg is too much, try it in a tandem stance. If you are carrying this kettlebell up and down and you feel like it's too much and you're kind of using your back, grab something lighter. Grab a lighter dumbbell, grab a lighter kettlebell. Sometimes people who have multiple weights in their home. Okay, now we're going to switch sides. So switch feet if you were standing on one leg. Switch which foot is in front if you're doing a tandem stance. Try to keep everything as level as you can. When you do this bicep curl, you want to lower down slowly, curl up, and lower all the way so that your elbow goes all the way straight. Curl up and down. We're doing our best to stay steady and level here, keeping your abs engaged, keeping your hip solid here. You don't want it to jut out to the side, keeping it nice and steady, stable. All right, biceps curls. Okay, now we're going to work the opposite side of your arm, the triceps. So we've worked your biceps, now we're going to work your triceps. So take that weight, again, if this is going to be too much, grab something lighter. We're going to push it over your head like this. I'm going to move my camera just a little bit. Okay. So again, if you have back pain, you might want to do this seated. You could sit on a ball, you could sit in a chair, but make sure it's something sturdy, like a kitchen chair or a bench like this. So for triceps extension, we're going to take that weight overhead. If you don't feel comfortable with this, grab something lighter. And the goal is to bend your elbows, rest the weight behind your head, and push straight overhead. So this is a triceps extension. When you're doing this, Think about keeping your elbows as close to your ears as you can. Keeping your head in as much alignment as you can. You don't want to be jutting forward like this to do it because that's putting your neck in a compromised position. You want to keep everything as straight and level as you can, and keeping those elbows in as close as you can. Keeping that core engaged. Again, if you start to have back pain, sit down on a bench or something sturdy to avoid that back pain, because when you press weight overhead, it can have an adverse effect if you already have an existing back injury. Okay, the last one we're going to do is a front raise. So if you're able to do all of these with one weight, great. It's much easier. If not, you can alternate back and forth between the exercises. So when you do one arm, obviously the weight is more than if you're using both arms. So we're going to do a front raise. Make sure that your weight is not too much for this. Again, your low back is going to be working here. Your core is working, but we don't want to put your low back in a compromised position. So sit down if this is going to bother your back at all, but we're just going to lift that weight right out in front and lower nice and slowly. So when you do any types of shoulder raises, you want to make sure you stay below the top of your shoulder. You don't need to go up here. There are certain times when you would, but not for our purposes. You want to stay about shoulder height or just below so that we don't create any impingement. Now, if you do have any shoulder pain with this, try a smaller range of motion so you can lift it to here and then back down. Importantly with this one, we're making sure this one is slow. Importantly, lift it and lower it. Don't do this. Don't bend back. You're trying to keep all of this as stable as you can. So you're lifting it forward, and you're going to feel your core engage. It's a shoulder and a core exercise. If you're hurting, if your back is hurting, sit down. So I'm going to make sure my screen can see me if I sit here. So you can do this seated as well. So lifting up and pulling down. If it's still too much, grab a lighter weight. You don't have to do the same weight that you've been doing this entire time, but keep your shoulders nice and level, your feet spread apart, lift straight up and back down. We're controlling the motion up and down, not leaning back, not substituting with any other muscles, but we're getting a really good core workout in addition to our shoulders here. Okay, follow through with those. If you have any questions, send them to me in the comments, or you can private message me, anything that you might need. And if you have any other suggestions or you want to see me use a different piece of equipment, just send me a message. That's why I'm doing all of these. So have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.